I feel like you will be great when they do like a CSI or something.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
like give us a queer CSI, like a.
Can't you guys see me? I'm pulling up. I'm going under the caution tape. What do we got? What do we got? Where's the perp?
So I would say that Keep It has officially become a Hacks household. We literally just had Meg Stalter on, and this week we're joined by a breakout talent who can not only go toe-to-toe with Jean Smart, who we also had on back in like 2020, I believe, the Dark Ages.
Yes.
But she can also make it look easy. Of course, we're talking about Emmy-nominated comedian Hannah Einbinder, here to talk about her new Max stand-up special, Everything Must Go. Hannah, welcome to Keep It.
Thank you for having me, guys.
I love your new stand-up special, by the way, which you were just honored at the Las Culturistas Culture Awards, which is like the Kids' Choice Awards for adults, basically. I've just never seen that kind of screaming in my life. But
yeah, gay adults, but yeah.
Gay Adult Choice Awards. That's correct.
Totally.
Watching your special, I mean, like, you've talked about this recently, but I love the juxtaposition of how you have this chill approach to telling jokes, and then suddenly you will pop with like 700 words in a single phrase. And I feel like when you are preparing your stand-up, is that the stuff you spend the most time on? Intuitively, that would be my guess, but it seems incredibly difficult.
I take the Noah Baumbach approach. Okay, not a comma out of place. You know what I mean? I really am writing a script that I in no way deviate from, even to one single word or syllable. So it is definitely I mean, it helps that I am the one writing it, so it's easier to memorize. But I definitely do spend a lot of time getting every single word just right. So yeah, that is. I mean, and I'll like write performance notes for various words like in the body of the text. It's a pretty, I take a kind of a surgical approach to that stuff. So it does take a while, I think. Yeah.
I want to say about that approach, though, that I appreciate it because what it means is you're not wasting a single second on stage. It's like down to the moment, like there's something to be said about not deviating or not improvising. Like, no, this is all material, not just, we're hanging out together, because we're not.
Totally. I there is nothing conversational about what I'm doing up there. But what I will say is, live performance on the road, I will sometimes improvise, or when I'm in the initial stages of writing a joke. And then when those lines do well, if they do well, they do become a part of it. So sometimes the finished product is a result of various improvisation along the way. And then, if the improv is worthy of, making the cut, so to speak, then I will integrate it. But yeah, I appreciate. Thank you for saying that. I'm glad you are seeing that. I'm happy to know that's translating.
Yeah, I mean, I really think that's what I love about live performance in general. I think that, as a person who loves theater, I think that when you see someone have a great performance, especially an actor who is just like, they hit their mark, they know exactly what they're doing, right? As a person who works and writes in theater, like when you see someone improv something or an audience laughs at something different, it's so fun to then be like, okay, I can now tweak this because I feel like it's working a little bit differently. How would you say that translates then to working on Hacks, where that is a script and you're filming it, but are you as surgical with trying to remember everything, but do like Jen and Paul and like Lucia, like, do they care? Are they those type of people when you're on set? Like, what is that like for you?
I mean, the truth is, like, there's very rarely anything better than what's on the page. They're so gifted. And so, but they are so egoless. Like when it comes to improvisation and adding jokes, like I'll come to them before, I'll improv in the scene when we've gotten it. And Lucia will be like, okay, girl, go off. Like, add whatever you want. Just if we're not running against the clock, But if there is something that I feel like, we could add, like, I'd love to add a joke here, I'll give it to them. They like it. They're like, great, throw it in, so they're not as precious, but like the truth is what we're starting with is of such a quality that, it's just kind of all there to begin with.
I think something else I really enjoy about you is that even though on Hacks, your character is supposed to be maybe a definitive millennial character and like genes from this other generation, and that's meant to be the interesting juxtaposition. When I talk about this show with my friends, and specifically my close circle of like comedy writer friends, you to me are one of the rare people of this generation who is very Gen X. And I don't feel like we have many Gen X type feeling who have like a resting sort of like, I don't know, like eye roll culture has just gone away. You know what I mean? Like, and you're somebody who would do an eye roll well. And do you connect well with like 90s comedy in a way?
Totally. I'm like, what is this, the freaking compliment hour over here? Like, you guys, thank you. This is so nice. You guys are literally, I'm feeling seen. I will be honest. Yeah, I mean, so my mom had me when she was 42. So I was socialized around much older people. I mean, my dad's 12 years younger than her. So like he was, that vibe. But like, I think my mom, being an older mom, just kind of made me like, you can always spot fellow like kids of older moms out there. They just have that like almost like wisdom just in imbued in the vibes. So I would say that I would attribute maybe some of what you're picking up onto that. And yeah, my comedic education has been, I would say predominantly older stuff, and especially the 90s, like the alternative comics of the 90s, like Janine Garofalo, Dana Gould, Patton Oswalt, Maria Bamford, Zach Galifianakis, like Brian Posehn, all of those guys, like, the Sklar brothers, they all have influenced me a lot because they were like the LA comic, not all of them, but most of them were like the LA comics of the 90s. So yeah, I definitely feel that that's been a big place that I've been inspired by,
Actually, I've not thought about it until this moment, but even like thinking of the original cast of Saturday Night Live, like even though that's a lot of like boomer aged people, your mom is kind of like Gen X in a way too. Like her resting energy, and like she loves like raves and stuff. Like you weirdly both are like not in the Gen X generation, but around it kind of.
Freaky Friday situation. Which I'm so excited for. Oh my God. Did y'all see the pictures from the set?
Oh Jesus. They look sensational too.
It feels like a thing that has always been like, those movies, like, I feel like we're waiting for Legally Blonde 3, too, right? It's one of those things where they're always asked about it. Oh, it's coming. Oh, it's coming. And then when they not just took the photo together, but it was also like, oh, no, we just started shooting today. Yes. I was like, oh, this is actually coming.
It's rare for me. I felt so I just felt so excited. Like I haven't felt that excitement in a while. And I'm not like Mrs. Reboot. Like I'm not even necessarily like about that. This just felt so so exciting. So two gifted women. My God.
Yeah. Well, so even thinking about your excitement for that, and you have this sort of like 90s chic cool about you. What's something that you are like very into, makes you laugh, that maybe doesn't even make it into your comedy and doesn't really like inspire it, or maybe it does, but people would be shocked that like this is something I'm into. Like, I don't know, like you love Adam Sandler Netflix movies.
I mean, I love Sebastian Maniscalco. I think he's one of our great performers. I appreciate the way that he uses the instrument of his body. I would say that I guess people would be surprised to know that I like more mainstream comedy as well. I think there's really great stuff over there. I feel like, because my one of my number ones is Jim Carrey, and I do appreciate physicality, and I do really appreciate physical comedy, and I feel like Sebastian is one of the only people who has really, that is at the forefront of his performance. And I love it. I've learned so much from it. It has freed me to incorporate that, as well as, of course, the many, physical comedians before him. Not to say that he invented it by any means, but it is a really huge part of his performance. So I think maybe people would be shocked to know that I actually really love Sebastian. He makes me laugh. Yeah.
I remember when he hosted the MTV like VMAs or something out of
my
nowhere.
God.
I didn't know who he was yet or something. I'm like, who chose this? And I'm like, oh wait, this is like a Stone Pro. Yeah.
I know. That was tough. That appearance was tough. But like some of those early, like Sebastian Bitz, he has one bit about companies coming and like how your mom back in the day would like put out the cake, this and that. And now when people come over, it's like he's like got everybody's like SWAT team, like they're like army military style, like getting on the floor, like trying not to make a set. Like he does this crazy act out that is so, and you know, it's always awesome when someone explains a joke. You know, that's always good. People love that. I try to do that as much as I can. But just YouTube that shit. It's funny as hell.
Also, I mean, like something that must be said about Hacks is now it's like the definitive television show for a variety of queer performers. Like, how many times, like, does a comedy in any platform have multiple queer people on it? Let alone these like up and down. From you, Pat Regan's now on the show, who's a hilarious comic and podcaster who writes on Hacks. Guy Branum, who writes on Hacks, is now on the show too. What is that environment like? What's hanging out with these people like?
Well, it's basically like the universe from Wonder Woman, where everybody's walking around and they're all gorgeous and everybody's in the perfect society. It's like, oh, this is what it could be like. You know, it is pretty much perfect. The vibes are awesome. Everyone's nice. Literally, it's like I'm so fucked from here on out. Like I can't. I mean, the standards set by this environment, mostly run by women. You know, filled with queer people. And, you know, we all kind of took to each other pretty instantly. It's a dream scenario. It really is. And, you know, I mean, Tim Badgley, like all of these wonderful queer, you know, character actors who come in and like really are such pros and such legends, you know, and yeah, I mean, Paul, Jen, and Lucia really, their casting is truly like, who is the funniest? And, you know, it just happened that all the queers were the funniest. So
you don't say. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we love Jean Smart, obviously, you know, but I just feel like we're always sort of discovering new depths about like her. I mean, I think that she had this great interview. What was it with Kelly Clarkson recently? And Kelly was talking about like how much she loves moving. Jean was like, "What? You enjoy moving?" It's just sort of like, what's it like working with her? And like, have you had a moment where you're just sort of like, she really, I don't know, just cracked you up, or you learned something from Jean? You were just sort of like, oh, this is a brand new way to be funny, or like approach an acting scene that I've never thought of before.
I mean, she is so effortless. Like, it really is. She is like truly the opposite of method. Like, we are talking and gabbing and gabbing and laughing, and she's like, and they're like, okay, everybody set? And she's like, yeah, anyway, okay, I'll tell you after. And then it's like, she's right in. Like, there's no moment, like, she's in. Like, that is something that I feel, my approach has been a little different at times, just in terms of like more dramatic scenes. I do have to kind of go be by myself for a second, but she's really, you know, right there, which has been like really interesting to watch. I mean, I learned from her not so much directly as indirectly. I'm just watching and observing. She's not going, honey, you should do this, this, and this. You know, she's just leading by example. So that pertains to, you know, how she approaches getting into the scene when she's in there, the physicality, you know, various continuity that she's keeping track of while also being really loose. You know, she is such a fine-tuned, well-oiled machine, racehorse, Ferrari, like top of the line. You know what I mean? She is like just a stallion, you know? And so that is something that I think, you know, she's probably always been that way. She's just a naturally gifted actress. But I think also it's the effect of just a career of impeccable work, you know? So.
We talk a lot about on this show my theory that instead of the Zodiac, people should identify by what Fleetwood Mac song they most identify with, because it says everything about you, like which member means the most to you, whatever. What Jean Smart performance is your favorite pre-Hacks? And because that's another melange of things that are seemingly completely unrelated. Some of the stuff she's done.
I have to say, I mean, I thought Watchmen was so badass.
Oh.
Like I really loved seeing her in that role because that is, I can see in various performances, I can see pieces of her, and that one felt like a different person. And I was like so glued to her in that. And I just love her in a little bit of a red wig. So I'm always telling her, I'm going, honey, you got to go red. It looks good on you. With the blue eyes, please. She's stunning. But yeah, I think Watchmen probably, and then, I mean, it's like Designing Women obviously is like fucking like all time or untouchable. But yeah, I would say maybe Watchmen, or, I mean, Mare was she was hilarious in Mare.
Mare of Easttown, right? Yeah.
She was so funny in that. And like, just those little, like, so many of the best moments she's literally, it's just her in her face. Like it's not even in the, like the dialogue as so much as it is in her like physicality, which is exciting to me, being able to do so much just visually. So I love those moments. And of course, like her character in Mare is so awesome, but yeah, I don't know. I'm
very Samantha Who, and also
sure.
24.
Yeah.
I mean, she was it on 24. And I also just want to say that you like Designing Women of it all. This is just this is a call to arms for drag queens across America.
Please.
We are constantly like, I am tired of the and that is the night the lights went out in Georgia speech. Like we've seen you do it.
We love it.
Like watch. We love it, but like we've seen it. Go and watch some Designing Women old episodes. Somebody find a Gene Spark monologue, and let's get that in rotation. Like they all had monologues because it was like like in the Bloodworth, like she wrote it like it was a play.
Right.
Each episode, so I'm sure there's some great like iconic Gene Spark like monologues or nuggets that somebody can do on stage and give us in drag form.
I don't know where we were. I think it was Vegas, just when we were doing a little bit of that. And she saw, because we went to Drag Race Live, but I think she went to a different drag show maybe the night before, and they did that monologue, and she was just crying. She was so moved, and she was so touched, and it was so nice to hear that she like had that moment. I think she really like enjoyed it.
And she at the WGA Awards performed it because it was a tribute to Linda Bloodworth. So that is on tape somewhere, and I know that because I took some of the footage. So just be aware it's out there.
Boots on the ground.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
No, I mean, like, obviously, the beautiful thing about a show like that, too, is that it's been so important to queer people for years, and then also, like, that's one of the good things about the internet, like, we are in an age where we can rewatch that show, and she can, see how much that means to even, like, younger people.
Yes.
I mean, Designing Women aired, and then you would never see it again.
Right.
I believe it's on Hulu now.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Huh.
I think so.
What's an old TV show you are likeliest to find yourself rewatching on any given night?
Define old.
Anything that's like, I'll say 10 years or older.
Ooh, I would say maybe Mad Men.
But that is somehow the most rewatchable show of all time because you're sure you missed something. There's so much detail in it,
Oh, I mean, I've seen it a lot of times. I feel like probably Mad Men, and then I got to be honest with y'all. If I'm watching typically docs and movies, maybe I'm seeing movies at the theater, like the local like indie theaters, and then I'm probably watching documentaries, mostly nature docs. I got to get more into because that's where I go for the just in terms of like, oh, what's my like comfort thing? Like I'll just watch like footage of the desert kind of.
Oh, Lily Gladstone told us last week that she's thinking about soil acidity right now. So you're of a piece with our other guests.
Yeah. We're gonna. Can you get me on email with her? I have a lot to discuss on that.
Honestly, thank you for people who watch. Like, I love a documentary and stuff, but like, thank you for people who watch that stuff too, because I feel like that also enriches your comedy, because sometimes you'll watch a comedian and they'll go off on like this like whole rant about like dinosaurs or like some fucking thing that you've never even thought about, and it's like, yes, because they're watching other things besides all the comedy that everyone else is watching. So
yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I just last night was at Largo. I'm trying to do this thing about pesticides and plastics and bisphenol A, the BPAs and various chemicals, and it'll be funny, of course. You're thinking what? But I'm like reading like medical journals and like FDA stuff and like watching like TED Talks with like 260 views and being like, you know what I mean? Like that is my philosophy, where I'm just like, I have to go elsewhere for the stuff. So
I'm glad that
Well-
the Largo is like too hallowed up ground to me. I'm too obsessed with Amy Mann. I feel like she'd show up there and I'd be like, I can't be around this person. It's too amazing.
it is such an institution. The first time I play, like it has become a home for me, which is so, I can't even believe that. But yeah, coming up in LA, like just as a comic, like trying to get in and see shows there all the time, it's fucking so legendary.
we used to record there.
Oh, that's right, we
Upstairs.
did.
That's
Right
where,
above
that's
it.
Where, that's where, that's
I
where
forgot.
Crooked
The Coronet.
Media's
Yeah.
offices were
Yes.
above the Largo. So
Right.
Yeah.
Above that parking lot. There's
Yeah.
like the, oh my God.
Yeah, we were like,
we also
ghosts.
started there, Louis.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yes. Couple of club girls.
Well,
We started in the theater. We're talking about the office beyond Largo.
Thank you so much for being here, Hannah.
Thank y'all for
you're
having
great.
me.
We love you.
And congrats on the special. My God.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And
Thanks,
honestly,
guys.
like, I mean, you're worried about like having a great like set or something like after Hacks, but with all this like pesticide and everything, like I feel like you will be great when they reboot like a CSI or something.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
like
Yeah.
give us a queer
you guys-
CSI, like a give us that version. You know,
Can't you
But I
guys
think
see
that'd be
me? I'm
fun.
pulling up. I'm going under the caution tape. What do we got? What do we got? Where's the perp?
Those shows are funnier than you
Nasty
give them
stuff.
credit for, too. You know, like
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
every time David Caruso took off his sunglasses, I was cackling.
Oh, please.
So,
Yeah. 100%. You know what it would be for me that I would love is more so a Dexter type role. You know what I mean? Where we got that like cool saturation, that Miami heat. You know what I mean? That feeling, and then it's like the queer Dexter. That could be sick.
I would love
Okay,
that.
great.
And also, I want Julia Stiles in that one, too. So, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh my God, love her
Yeah.
majorly.